So, hello everyone. My name is Becky with Scott Leroy Marketing, and today we are going to be doing an overview of Gemini AI Advanced, which you get access to for free through your KW email. So, we're going to be doing an overview of the different things that you can do with Gemini AI and kind of an overview of just how to use it. And a lot of this applies to AI, using AI in general. So some of these you can take and use, with ChatGPT or something like that. So a lot of these are just tips on using AI in general. Some are specific to Gemini AI. Gemini AI Advanced is really just KW's version, KW's, A, sorry, Google's AI. And so you would access it by going to gemini.google.com. I'm going to drop that link in the chat. Before we fully jump into this, though, I do have a couple things to cover real quick. First of all, if you are watching this back on recording, please feel free to reach out to us via email with any questions you may have. Our email is support@scottleroymarketing.com. I'm going to drop that in the chat as well. And if you are here with me live, please drop any questions you have in the chat as we go through. I'll do my best to get those answered in real time. I will likely have some time at the end of class. I'll definitely save some time at the end of class, rather, where I can answer those questions you may have. So feel free to drop them in if I don't answer them right away. I'm not ignoring you. I am just getting through the class to make sure I can cover everything in the amount of time, and then I can take some more time for questions at the end. So feel free to drop them in the chat. If it's a more in-depth question or things like that, I may um, save it for the end. But yeah, you can also go over and check out our YouTube channel. It is Scott Leroy Marketing on YouTube. I just dropped that in the chat as well. Today's class will be uploaded within 24 hours to our YouTube channel. You'll find it under the videos tab right up here at the top. You can, when you are looking for videos on our channel, we highly recommend using the videos tab as it will show the most recent video up at the top. Um, Save you some trouble when looking for videos. The videos tab will have them up top, especially if you're looking for a specific class. If you do search, you would just come here, just make sure you're paying attention to the dates. Um, let's see here. I think we've only done this class one other time, so it's not really a good example. So I'm going to do what can SLM do for you? So when you search that, most recent one does show 10 days ago, so that is actually our most recent one. Um, but sometimes they'll show up out of order, so you might see one that's from 1 year ago up at the top, and then the most recent one further down. So things are always changing with Command and the services that we offer here at Scott Leroy Marketing, which is why we always recommend looking for those most recent videos. So if you're searching, just keep an eye on those dates, and see if you can find the most recent one. If you have any questions on any of those, again, you can reach out to us via email, support@scottleroymarketing.com. So we are going to go ahead and jump into our Gemini. So again, gemini.google.com. You will want to make sure you are logged in with your KW email. So if you have multiple emails signed in on your computer in that specific browser, you may need to switch between accounts. So for example, I have two emails under this one. So you would just click your name in the top right corner. So I had to because this one's my default. So I just switched over. You would just click that account to switch between accounts. But make sure you're in your KW email because that is the Pro account. Used to be called Gemini Advanced. Now it is Gemini Pro. So if there's some confusion there, it's Gemini Pro. I may refer to it as Gemini Advanced just out of habit, but they would be the exact same thing. So if yours says Pro or Advanced, they're the same thing. Don't need to worry about that. Just wanted to cover that before, I even switch those up in my brain. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and we are going to take a look at what we can do with Gemini Advanced. So some of the things we can do, we can analyze documents. So there's some tools right here. We can add files, we can upload them, we can add them directly from our Google Drive. We can import code, so we can import some things here. We can compare documents, analyze them, things like that. We can create custom images. We can analyze code for computer or for websites, things like that. It can create content for you. You can also do this deep research mode. And deep research really just analyzes a bunch of sources and kind of creates a comprehensive report for you with cited sources. So if you want to do that research, you can just switch to deep research mode and it will, and then enter your question or what you're researching, and it can pull up more of that information for you. Um, I do want to point out, as way of disclaimer, Gemini and all AI can make mistakes. Nothing, it's not perfect. Make sure you're double checking the responses you get before you use them. Um, Always a good rule of thumb is just to review it before you put it out under your name. Make sure it's accurate, make sure it's up to date. If it's advertising, make sure it's up to date compliance wise. Um, Things like that. Make sure, just proofread it, make sure it's accurate. But it will give you a very good base for it, and it's generally fairly accurate. So always proofread for accuracy, things like that. It can make mistakes. No AI is going to be perfect. Um, there is also a Gemini app that you can download on your mobile devices. Um, the app does show it should have a talking feature where you can talk to it and have basically a conversation with AI. In the app, I'm not going to be showing the app today just because I do not have it on here. Um, but there is the app, and you can feel free to take a look at that. So now we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna actually show you a few more things over here. You can expand the menu, and you can create new chats, which mine's already in a new chat window, so I'm not going to be creating a new chat just yet. I'll do that in a couple minutes. You can see gems. We'll talk about gems a little bit later. You can also see your history of things that you have searched, entered in here. And then there's also settings right here where you can view history, connected apps, um, scheduled actions, and change the theme of it if you'd like. Um, so if you go, oh, that's the wrong button. Sorry. Just gonna try to show you the apps. So if you go to the apps, you can connect productivity apps. So if you have um, GitHub, you can do that. Or you can toggle this on to connect it to your Google Workspace. And that will allow it to search through your Google Workspace. So it can search through your Gmail, search through your Google Docs, Google Drive, Calendar, Google Keep, and Google Tasks. So you can toggle that on. It's going to ask, are you sure? I just want to confirm that. And then you'll be able to do that. Sorry, I have to let a couple people in. But you're able to integrate your Google Workspace with it. And then when you go back to your home, you'll be able to tag the source that you're looking at. So if you want it to search through your Google Docs, you can hit the @ symbol, and then it's going to pull up all of the things you can search. So you can search just through your Google Docs or your Google Workspace. Mine currently says disabled because I don't have it turned on. But if you had it turned on, you would be able to. If you don't have it turned on, you can still do this, and then it's going to say submitting the question is going to enable it automatically, and it may require permissions to continue. So you can use that. It's a great tool in there. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to go do some demoing, entering in some prompts. Um, so we're going to go ahead and we will click right here in the text box and let's go. Actually, I'm going to have it write a listing description for me. So I'm actually going to go to our website and just grab an address real quick. Yeah, in a second. I'm going to try to find there we go. That'll work. I'm going to grab one that wasn't KW. That way you can take a look at it there. All right. So I'm going to grab this address real quick. We're going to go back over to our Gemini AI And we're going to say, create a listing description for entering that address. And we'll give it just a second to load for us. There we go. So you'll be able to go through and we can see the description right here. Again, you'll want to review it for accuracy, make sure it's up to date. That'll help you, it'll help rewrite it for you. You can go through here, and then we can say maybe, for example, we want to enter in, maybe we want to highlight something else. So for example, add in that, whoop, say kitchen was remodeled in 2025 and a new addition was added, adding 300 square feet. Enter that in, it's going to rewrite the whole description for us. We'll add that information in. We'll give it just a minute. Still right, there we go. So you can see we can go through and it updates that square foot right there, and tells us, that it added that square foot addition. You can scroll down and the kitchen, part of the home is kitchen, which was completely remodeled in 2025. So it goes through and it updates that for you. And you can go through and you can play around with the wording, have it remove certain sentences, and things like that. So that's how you can write a listing description. You can also just click this button right here to start a new chat. You can expand the whole menu and click new chat there. It's gonna just start it over again so we can ask a different question. So for example, we want to write a phone script. So we can say, write a phone script for a real estate agent to chat with a potential seller. There. Future. And we can say, add in that mortgage rates are declining. We'll send that. And it takes a minute. Make sure it gives you that. And then you can go through and you can see it gives you different scripts through here. So, fantastic idea. Tying market conditions directly into the seller's plan is a great way to start the conversation. And then it gives us a phone script that we can use specifically. So we can say all of this, it'll be in there. And then it'll have some steps for you. So step one, discovering their current situation. So you can see asking what their current thoughts are, things like that. And then step two, uncovering their future goals, proposing the next step, and things like that. So we can change a part of what they said. So maybe we want to go in and let's see here. Let's change this. Let's find something that we want to change a little bit. Let's go with this sentence right here. Oh, let me grab the whole sentence. There we go. So we can copy and paste this and we can say, change the sentence. And add a quotation mark at the beginning. You probably don't have to, but I'm going to anyway. To show, let's change the tone of it. So we'll say, maybe we don't normally say it will dictate the options normally. So we'll just say casual and conversational, and we'll see what that does. So it'll ask, let's see here, what's your house? That one sounds more, let's go change it with the first option. We'll say I always recommend being more specific with it. There we go. Um, so saying instead of saying change it, I just changed it to change the script. You can copy your prompt or you can edit the prompt if maybe you want to change it up a bit. You realize you didn't explain something well, or you changed how you want it to be. You can just click the edit. And then once you do that, you can click update and it should update the response as well. Um, you can go through and look, and then we'll see right here and then updated right there. So it sounds more conversational. We can ask it to change the tone of the whole script if we wanted to. Um, we can play around with it, just ask it to do different things. I do see a question in the chat. Is KW able to review or see our Gemini prompts or searches since it's being provided by them? To my knowledge, they should not be able to. It would go through Google, like it would if it were not provided through KW. So to my knowledge, they would not be able to view the prompts or searches. Um, so yeah, so let's see here. You can also use Gemini. Let's start a new chat. You can have it create a lead magnet for you. So let's say, go ahead and ask what are some of the top lead magnet ideas for real estate agents around Orlando, Florida. And then it'll give you the answer. Most effective lead magnets are usually those that combine general high-value real estate education with specific local market insights. So here are some of the top lead magnet ideas tailored for the Orlando area, appealing to both buyers and sellers. So you can go through and you can see Ultimate Orlando Relocation Guide, First Time Orlando Home Buyers Roadmap, list of Orlando homes under X price point. Find your dream Orlando neighborhood quiz, which that actually sounds fun. So it gives you some good ideas for lead magnets that you can use, and things like that. Home sellers, just things you can put on your website, and then it also gives you the value and the content idea. So it gives you the actual content idea that you can create with it. Maybe we'll say create. Uh, for me, please highlight, we'll say Baldwin Park and Winter Park to create an Orlando neighborhood comparison chart. And we can have it compare those neighborhoods. Again, you want to make sure you review. You'd have to connect to Google Workspace. It would connect it to a Google Doc. So let me see here. Maybe we won't do that then, just because I'm not connecting it on this. But if you did connect to your Google Docs, it should pull up a comparison chart for you. Sorry, I did not realize it would need me to connect that. So then we'll go ahead and we'll start another new chat real quick. And here you can upload files. So we'll click this add files. We'll click upload files. Go. For example, I have our October newsletter in our HTML code. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll open that. We'll attach it there. And then we'll say, maybe we want to display it on a website instead of sending it out as a newsletter. So display the attached code for me to upload on a website. Instead of sending it out as a newsletter. It's going to take a second. I'm going to keep loading. So you'll see it pull through. So this is website codes. You might not necessarily need these for websites, but just to show you that it can do that. It's still loading. You can see it has the stop response down, but at the bottom, that just means it's still loading. So you'd have to stop it to send another question in there. So we'll give it a second here. We have the option to, you can also see it spinning right there. But we also have the option to copy that code once it's fully loaded, if we wanted to copy it to our clipboard. Still loading. Give it just a minute here. It's a lot of code, so it'll update real quick. Alrighty, it's here. Taking a minute. Close some of these extra tabs. It's still adding stuff, so just taking a minute. Sorry about that, y'all. Hopefully it'll speed up real quick. Finish up. I do see someone saying they have a question they can't unmute. If you could drop your question in the chat, I can get that answered for you, either in real time or save it for the end of class. Just for now, we are not unmuting, just to make sure. Can I show the document again? Yeah, absolutely. So what I just did is I clicked the plus button right here, and I clicked upload files, and then I just grabbed it. I had already downloaded the HTML. So this one I pulled from command. You can save it as an HTML from command. So some places do offer the option to download it as an HTML. You should be able to do this maybe with a PDF or something like that, to have it show you code to enter that in as well. But the HTML does enter it in. I was going to say quickly, but it's going a little slowly. Yeah, you're welcome. No problem. Um, Give it another second here. Hope it'll load real quick. Keeps adding more, so. Question, what do you want to do with the code here? So that's a great question. That's actually, if you wanted to basically add it to your website. So I asked for me to upload on a website. So it's giving me website code right now, which I actually don't really need, so I can probably pause it if it doesn't load. But if I wanted to add it to a website, to enter the code to create a new page or something like that. The KW websites are a little bit different. They don't work with, they're more template based, so it wouldn't necessarily be the same where you could add this to a website. I'm just gonna go ahead and stop this just because it's taken forever. But then once I did that, I could then ask, I could ask it again if I wanted to. I don't really want to. I don't know why I just did that. I'm gonna stop that. Just because it's doing the same thing again. It's going really slow. It might take a few minutes generally. And so it might take a few minutes for you. I just, for the sake of time, want to keep it moving. But then once I did that, then I could say, for example, is it set up to display on my website without showing any of the email elements? Um, and for this one, it would most likely tell me that there were some email elements still in there because this was designed as an email. And then I'd be able to ask it to remove those email elements from it. And then I could copy and paste it using the copy code and then paste it into my website. Or if I have someone else building my website, I can give it to them, and they could enter it into the code. So that would be what the code would be for websites. Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna start a new chat. You can also use it for content creation. And that's actually one of the questions I see in the chat right now is, can you show me how to create monthly newsletters using Gemini? Yeah, absolutely. So first I'm going to actually go ahead and show you a couple content. Actually, I'll just go ahead and start with the newsletter. So I can just say, write a monthly new, it would help if I could spell. Here we go. Write a monthly newsletter for me, we'll say we're preparing for next month, November in Orlando, Florida as a real estate agent. And let's say, for example, maybe we want it to be more of a fun newsletter. So we'll say highlighting, we'll say highlighting fun things in the area. So we'll go with that, and then it'll tell us, um, it'll give us this newsletter right here. So this one has a bunch of options. So, for example, it says your fun November event calendar, and it has different things that you can take a look at that are great in October, has the dates in here of when you can look at them. Um, and then it even adds like a note of thanks at the end. So you can go through and you can ask it to do all of these things. Maybe we want to um, change something a little bit. Trying to think of what I would change on here at the moment. It actually looks really good. So you might not need to change it. You could change it. You don't necessarily need to. You can copy the response right here. And we could just copy it and then we'd be able to paste it where we create our newsletters. We can add in our images or things like that. I'm going to show you how you can use it to create images as well. We'll do that in a little bit here. You can use it to, and then start a new one, and we'll say create a blog. So write a 500-word blog about the Orlando buying process for a first-time home buyer. What are the top items they need to know before they make an offer? You'll go through and you'll see that different steps. Again, like we say with all of it, Gemini can make mistakes. Make sure you're double checking everything and make sure it's accurate, especially when it's things like real estate guidance and comes to compliance issues and things like that. Um, so you could do that. Go through, and this one even populated an image of an Orlando home. I'm not sure if that's actually an Orlando home. It does fit the vibe, so it's AI generated, but yeah, so it has a bunch of things in here. So again, review for accuracy and make sure it's compliant and all of those good things. Just to make sure we don't run into any issues with those. But we can go ahead and we can say, let's make it optimized. So we can say, let's make the blog optimized for the keyword Orlando real estate. And we'll also say include a call to action to reach out to Scott Leroy for any additional items or help. Give it just a sec. And you'll see it pop up. You'll see in bold that it's adding in those keywords that I asked it to. Orlando real estate, things like that to make sure we get that consistently across the board. And then down at the end, it also has that call to action for us. So you can go through and you can edit those and you can ask it to do more things. Yeah. Anyway, so you can go and you can create a new one. So we can say, maybe we'll take this and we'll go create a new one. And we'll say create a biography. So biographies are some of those things that tend to get complicated. Not sure what to include, how much to include, things like that. Highly recommend AI. Sorry, y'all. Highly recommend AI for that. I do see some questions in the chat. I will make sure I get to those at the end. I will probably go ahead and save those just for the end so I can make sure I can give you thorough answers on that one. on those, so I'm not ignoring you. I see them coming in, but I will go ahead and take a look at that at the end. But anyway, so we're going to go ahead and we'll ask it, um, create a real estate bio, bio of 300 words for myself. There it is. We'll say that. It'll give us a 300-word bio for us to use. Um, so we can go through and we can add in more details. So we'll say, maybe it doesn't highlight some of the things that we have decided we want to highlight. So let's say, add in the fact that I graduated with a bachelor's of marketing from the University of North Texas and have been a real estate agent for 5 years. And then it goes in and adds in that information and kind of just strengthens that biography for us to make it more personal. You'll notice that it capitalized my very bad grammar here. So you'll notice that it fixed that for me. But you'll be able to go in and see this. You can use this for command in your website profiles, things like that. But we can take this and we can say convert this into a newsletter. This into a newsletter style that I can send out to my contacts. And it goes ahead and it formats this into a newsletter for us. We were talking about creating newsletters earlier. That shows you how you can do that. We can also say maybe we want to change it to be just an introduction. So you can say change the newsletter to just be an introduction to myself and how I can help with their real estate needs. And then it tells us, focus, direct, introduction, clearly states our value, and it revises us for it. We can then just copy this and send it out through email campaigns or smart plans or one-off emails in Command if we wanted to utilize this in Command. So you can do that. You can also use it to ask for gift ideas. So if we wanted to say, give me some client gifts, closing gifts. I am a real estate agent. The more information you give it, generally the better. What if I could spell? That are a personal touch and provide hmm, we'll say provide a local touch around Orlando, Florida. And then it gives us some options in here. So gift certificates for food, um, local culinary tour, some experiences we can send them on, as well as some home goods, gift basket if we wanted to do something like that. And then it'll give us some tips for the best practice for a personal touch. So note the client interests, include a handwritten card, consider the delivery time, things like that. You can also say, for example, your client loves to cook. So you can enter that in here and say, hey, my client loves to cook. Can you help me come up with an idea for that? And it can change all of this and it can make it into a personal one that revolves around them loving to cook or things like that. That's pretty much all of the prompts. Now I want to show you when we expanded the menu. Scroll down a bit. There we go. Shows up at the top. Just took a second to load. But you can see your gems right here. So gems are kind of like a saved search. So I'm going to go ahead and click Explore Gems, and this will take us to our gem manager. So there's some that are pre-made by Google. So Brainstormer, it can have some fun ideas for you. So we'll go with Brainstormer. And then it has some prompts for you that you can use if you wanted. Um, so we'll just go with this last one. What are some fun picnic ideas for kids? And then it goes ahead and it asks us some clarifying questions. So again, the more information we give it, the better response we're going to get. Um, but actually, maybe we want to change this and we want to say, um, we'll say two adults in downtown Orlando, Florida, and then it'll change it over to us. And it'll ask us some more questions. What's the vibe? What's our ideal time of day? Um, what's the budget? Things like that. And then it also gives you some other tailored ideas that you can take a look at and include. But we can say, for example, we want a fun and playful atmosphere. And we will pack our own lunch. Food and beverages. We are looking to do this 6 p.m. And then it adds in that information, and then it adds in some different ideas. So some different places we can go and we can do a picnic, or things like that. You can do the same thing with um, so we'll go back to our other gems. But then we can see different ones that we've created down here. So these are basically like saved searches. So we can see ones that we've created. So listing descriptions, you can see that here. And you can enter in listing descriptions and it'll fit kind of that idea that you may have or the specific tone. I'll show you how to create one. You just click new gem right here. You can name your gem. So we'll say, and then we can describe what it does. Um, so creating real estate scripts for calling potential clients. And then we can enter in the instructions. So this is going to be the instructions for Gemini. It's going to be the main objectives and the capabilities and what style of response do we want. So we can say this is meant for real estate scripts to be created for calling potential home sellers and buyers. We can do that. We can click this pencil right here to have Gemini rewrite it for us. So when we do that, we'll rewrite it. It takes that one sentence that we had, and it's going to give us some more. So then it's going to go through and it's going to give us the purpose and goals that we'll want, behaviors and rules, the script refinement and optimization, overall tone, things like that. We can go in and we can edit any of these that we want. But we can say maybe we want it to be professional, knowledgeable, and authoritative, but also encouraging and helpful and friendly. We can enter that into our script if we want, and then we'll save that. We can add any files if we need to for knowledge so that it'll have those files and it'll pull information from them. Then we can save this right there. It'll create the gem for us. We'll say start a chat. And then we can go through and say, for example, maybe we want to have a script for going after, we'll say FISBOs. And it's going to give us this, and it's going to ask, a specific scenario, the goal of the call, motivation, current knowledge. Then I'll have example responses for you. So we can change the goal if we want. So we can say maybe our primary goal is to obtain a listing appointment. We can set our target audience and things like that. But we can go through and we can change that if we'd like. Um, we can also use Gemini to set up items for us to do. So we can say, make a social media marketing plan. Um, so, for example, I actually have one. I'm going to go ahead and grab it that I already have written, and then I will. It's a little long, so I didn't want to spend too much time typing it. But develop a social media marketing plan for promoting listings and engaging with potential clients. Include a content calendar with post ideas, property photos, market insights, target platforms, and engagement tactics. So I'm going to go ahead and send that, and we will see what it says. There we go. And then you can see it pops out this document on the right-hand side that we can take a look at. And it just provides more information. So it's a full plan for us that we can go through and we can scroll through here. We can change we can create it or different things like that. But we can go through and we can change this. For example, let's say create a 30-day calendar. With descriptions of what should be posted each day. Then you'll see it's writing over here. This one's spinning over here as well. We'll close that out real quick. We'll let this load up some more. And there we go. It pulls up another one. That's a plan for us. It's broken down by week and day. And then it has the format. So whether it's a text post or with a simple graphic, maybe it's, listing right here with a photo album on it or things like that. So it has a bunch of ideas for you. And it already tells you what your descriptions and call to action can be, as well as what the goal of that would be. So one more thing we're going to show you how to do with here is we're going to ask it to create an image for us. So we can start a new chat. We can type right here to ask it to create an image, or we can just click this create image button right here, and we'll describe that image. So we'll say, so you want to, when you're doing things like this, I kind of want to give you an example. Be safe with the images, be creative with it, let it create things for you. So you can see that it doesn't necessarily, this one's actually a fairly decent image, but it's not going to be an image of that exact house necessarily. Um, but you can see the image that it does populate. You want to be specific, but not necessarily too, but actually general. So if that makes sense. You want to be specific in your questions, but you want it to be like a general picture. So more of like stock image type. So we can say, or create an image of a happy home buyer that just closed holding keys. So we'll see what it gives us here. Takes a minute. You can see this one's a lot better. You can, not sure why they just sold hanging from the tree to the house, but so you want, not everything is going to be perfect. You could ask it to change some more if you wanted to. But once you do that, you're able to download the full size image right there. And you'll see it download and then you can use it. Or we can say something like, for example, of why you want to be more specific, but also keep it a general stock image type. Um, I'll ask it to create a picture. Scott Leroy holding a for sale sign, and we will see what it gives us there. So some of them are going to be great options. Some of them might not look quite right. Definitely not Scott, but it does actually have, Scott Leroy Realty right there, and things like that. So Definitely not Scott, but you can definitely see some of those details populate. So you don't necessarily want to have it try to create an image of a specific person, for example, or even a specific property. But you can have it do some general things through there. Um, on our Scott Leroy Marketing website, we do have some prompts. You can I'm gonna drop that in the chat. So scottleroymarketing.com. If you go to the Agent Resources tab, you'll log in with your Market Center number. But under the Agent Resources tab, go all the way down to Marketing Support and then Gemini Pro or ChatGPT prompts. And then you'll see we have some tips for asking questions and we have a bunch of prompts. So you can come in and grab these. We literally have hundreds of prompts through here that you can use. Um, but you can go grab those and use them if you'd like. Just copy and paste them into Gemini to see those results. I'm going to show you as an example. We'll grab this one right here. We'll go with a new chat, enter that one in. And you can see that it pops some information in for us. We can make it more specific if we need, or things like that. But be safe, be creative, have fun with it. Things like that. If you have like an email you're in the middle of writing, you can ask it to rewrite it for you. So you can say maybe you're creating an email and you can say rewrite it to be more elegant. So things like that, just have fun with it. Let it work for you. Have some fun. But yeah, and that is all I have. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up and take some time for some questions. So if you do have questions, please drop them in the chat. I see I have some. If you're watching this back on recording or you're not sticking around with questions, thank you for joining. I hope it was helpful for you, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.